Hello, welcome to this discussion on plagiarism in research projects or research reports. For many researchers, students, or early career researchers, trying to achieve originality of a thesis or a project report could be an uphill task. But in the next few minutes, I want to show you how to use simple, most of them free, AI, artificial intelligence, to ensure originality of the work you are going to submit. And so we'll start with the question: what is plagiarism? Plagiarism. What is it all about? It's actually basically the practice of taking someone's idea or work and passing it off as if that were your own work without giving attribution to the original source. Okay? And then there are different types of plagiarism tests. It could be a direct one where someone picks someone's idea or work and passing it off as though that is your own work without giving credit to the original source. It could be self-plagiarism, where a work you had published earlier, you decide to use it in another work without citing the original source. It could be mosaic, where you just pick someone's work, word by word, or paraphrase it. You pick an original work, paraphrase that work, maintaining the structure, and then turning it in as your own work. It could be accidental plagiarism. That occurs when someone neglects to cite the source, or misquotes the source, or unintentionally paraphrase a source by using similar words and all of that without acknowledging the source. All right, so I want to show you a typical example with a thesis my BSc student submitted during the early stage of his project, and then we're going to test it for plagiarism. We see the level of originality, and then I will show you how we're going to transform that particular work from suffering plagiarism challenge to a work that is highly original. Okay, most universities or institutions will give you the threshold of plagiarism. If you check it and it falls beyond that threshold, they will reject the work. So what happens? Let me show you this work. This is a typical background of study a student submitted. And then before you submit your work, you can do this check yourself. You can actually pay for some softwares to help you do plagiarism tests. But if you find it difficult doing that, you can decide to use the free type. The free type, most of them will allow you to check for up to 1,000 words at once. Okay, so let me copy this work and put it on one of the free types available online. There are many of them available. This is basically about 796 words. Okay, the sources are there. Let's copy it, and then let's get to that. I'm actually using this checker. Okay, it is available online. You can get the paid version, or you use this free version that allows you to check up to 1,000 words. That's the limit for free search. Okay, so here we'll just paste that work and ask the system to check it for us. Okay, you can easily check the website. So now I've dropped it there. I'll scroll down to let the system know that I'm not a robot. I check this, and it will confirm that indeed this is a human using the system. That is coming up. Let me check it again. You do this kind of thing, you'll be patient with the system, because it will need to confirm that you are human. Now, when that has happened and it begins to check for plagiarism, there are softwares you can use online to paraphrase a work that you want to paraphrase if you don't have the time to do it yourself. Doing it yourself is the best. However, since we have available softwares that can do it, it can also be explored. All right, so one of them is this software. Is a very common one. Okay, Querbot. You can quickly use it. If you drop a word here, it will translate it for you. there is free version and then there is also paid version. Now the system has checked and confirmed that this is not coming from a robot. It will go ahead and check for plagiarism, and the count will start. Now, why the count is going on, you see the count is here scanning for plagiarism. It will show us the level of originality at the end of the counting. Okay, it will show us the level of originality. So why that is happening, let me show you this software for paraphrasing. What you do basically, if you don't have funds to go for the premium version, you can use the free version. The free version will allow you to check up to 125 words, translate up to 125 words. If you drop it here and click paraphrase, the system will quickly paraphrase it and give you the version here, which you pick and replace the work that has suffered plagiarism challenge. But do make sure you acknowledge the source, which is key. Okay, even if you paraphrase a work you got from a source and you do not acknowledge the source, it's still plagiarism. So if you paraphrase a work, make sure you acknowledge the source. That is all about respecting intellectual property or intellectual rights of the original author. So this is basically the one we are going to use to paraphrase this, and some of them, if it's so small, you can look at it yourself. And I want to tell you that it's important that when you paraphrase, try to read through the words. Don't just believe it, sheepishly. Read the lines to be sure that the translation or paraphrased version maintains the original idea you have in that work. Okay, now it's almost done checking, and we will see the result here. Just be patient. It will give us the result, and based on that result, when it dictates plagiarism, it will show you the source where that work has been picked from. And so if you have the source, it's easier for you. Now it's done. Okay, it's done with the check. It's finalizing. You can actually download the results or you can view it online, but I'm going to view it online here for want of time. Okay, when I write papers and I throw them out, sometimes you check plagiarism, you may see up to 90 something percent originality. This is basically how these things are done, and it's important to acquire this skill. Okay, so this is what it has given us. It found 62% uniqueness in the work, and it's telling us that there are about 38% plagiarized version of this work. And it also shows us where these things are coming from. Like this one, the ones highlighted in red here are actually coming verbatim from a particular work. All these ones highlighted, if you go below, it will show you the sources where this work has been traced to. Okay, so now, and most of the institutions wouldn't accept anything more than 25% plagiarism. Okay, but you can achieve 10% or even less than that. So how do we do this? Now, let me just follow me. This first line, I copy it from here, and it's actually coming from the first line of the work. Okay, that's the first line of the work. So I'm going to start working on this. That first line, what do? I go to the paraphrasing version. I can drop it here and ask the system to paraphrase it. But there's something you need to also note when you do that. Okay, this is coming from this first line. So when you do that, there's something you need to know. There are different versions. This will translate to standard English. Okay, this will translate to standard English. If your challenge is that you want to enhance fluency in the write-up, you can use the version that enhances fluency in the write-up. Okay, great. So this work is dropped here, and then we'll click paraphrase. The system will quickly do it and drop it here for us. And then we check the next line, you see, but for want of time, I may not want to start going through it to ensure that the idea is maintained. But it's important you know that in the work. So this is where we are. We'll replace this. Okay. And then what's the next one that was highlighted in the plagiarism challenge? Okay, where we have expansionary. Instead of just picking that, I may prefer to pick the whole of that sentence so that the system will be able to give me what is reasonable enough. Okay, so we haven't picked that. That is here. Okay, expansionary. This is the place where we picked it from. So I'm going to replace that with the paraphrased version. You know, there's no shortcut to success in life. This actually calls for a lot of patience, but if you do it, your work could turn out good. You see, it takes up to 125 words at once, and that is for free version. But if you upgrade it to premium version, you can take far more than that. It can take a whole session of work and rewrite it for you, and that is the power of AI. Okay, but it's important that if you are using AI, you need to understand basically what you are doing so that it doesn't get you into trouble. Okay, so this is where we are replacing. Okay, now what's the next place that was highlighted? We go back to that plagiarism. You could have as well downloaded this. Okay, this session is highlighted. Permit me to just take them together. That is manufacturing sector. That manufacturing sector is coming from this part of the work. Okay, that's the manufacturing sector. Are we there? You see it here. So pick it up to where it cited a source. Beautiful. So I hope that is less than also 125 words. Okay, so we go to the paraphrased version. I highlighted everything and just dropped to replace. Okay, now I think that has been done. All right, so I pick it up and drop it here. So what's the next issue we had that had to do with plagiarism? I'll soon be done, and you will appreciate this effort when you see the outcome. You see where we cited that source up to the next line. So I'll check for where it started and pick it up from there. I'm almost done with what I'm doing. And when you pick your work, and especially the beginning part of this work, your thesis that had to do with citing authors from different work to create a background of your study. But when it comes to your results, discussion and interpretation, hardly, in most cases, we don't experience a lot of challenges around that area. Okay, because your results, most cases, will be quite unique from what is obtainable in other literature. Okay, now, so are we there? I'm sure you're following me. We are almost there. All right, where are we now? There's another challenge somewhere. Now I can even stop somewhere here and check this, and you will see that the challenge of plagiarism has been reduced drastically. But permit me to push it again so you appreciate the beauty of this system. Okay, where I have a challenge is where you don't know what exactly you are doing and you are trying to ask the system to turn out a new work for you because of the power of AI. It is not the best for you as a researcher. You need to be original as much as possible. Okay, but when you have done your best and you want to fine-tune your work, that is where this system becomes very, very important. It will go a long way helping to fine-tune that work, so that when you submit it for plagiarism tests, you can predict the outcome, that it will turn out quite positive, acceptable. You see this one, as the price level increases, that looks a bit small. Why suffering the system when we can quickly paraphrase that thing while maintaining the source we have cited? Because that is key. As the price level increases, the country's exports becomes clearer in the world market. I don't know what that means. Okay, what it means, that becoming clearer, or we could say gains, the country's exports, it improves, okay, in the world markets. Okay, just keep it that way. When you want to do anything, you read through the lines of the words. Okay, so we're just left with the last version, examination, up to that last one. I will prefer to pick it from here, so we'll just replace and then we test this again, and that will be the end of this presentation. Okay, thank you for your patience, and I want to encourage you that it's something doable. It's not a rocket science. So when next you hear about AI, don't just think it's something so strange. People actually sat down to write this program, and so you can also bring an innovation into the system, and many others will enjoy the output of your innovation. Okay, all right, so we will replace that, and is remaining the last line. This last line actually is something we can also paraphrase ourselves. What did he highlight there? Let's check the last line. The signs closely associated. Okay, the signs closely associated. Okay, let's just pick it and spare ourselves the time. But it's something that if the challenge is not so much, you work on it yourself. Because sometimes when I do this paraphrase, if I read through it, I feel that the system does not understand what I'm doing, and so I need to now begin to work on it myself. Okay, so that you will not get yourself into trouble. And this is the last stage, and that is where we're going to stop. So the next thing is to pick this work that has been worked on, improved on, and test it for plagiarism. Okay, now this is our plagiarism page. If I ask the system to refresh, to give me a new space where I will drop this to test, it will quickly refresh and ask me that, and allow me to drop another work for testing here, and that is what I will do now. Okay, and that is where we are going to stop this discussion. So don't just throw in your work for plagiarism test and begin to hang your faith on uncertainties. Okay, you can finish your work and be sure that if you submit it for plagiarism, it will come out very, very satisfactory. And that is why I'm taking time to share this with you, because it's a key skill you need in research. There are some journals you throw in your paper for publication. Once they check plagiarism and it is high, they will quickly turn down your submission. And it can be very discouraging, okay, when you submit, and sometimes they may not even tell you why they have turned it down, and if care is not taken, some of those journals may just mark that email, and any other work being submitted from that will become very suspicious. Okay, so now it has confirmed that this is not being submitted by robots, that is actually submitted by humans. It will start checking for plagiarism for us. So we click and the system starts doing the work. Some people actually also took time to write this thing we use for plagiarism test. And you too can design something our society can benefit from. Okay? All right. So now it's going to run out the last one. The result is coming up. Once we have that result, I will show you. You see, it's scanning for plagiarism. I will show you that, and then that will be the end of the discussion. And by the way, I want to thank you for spending this time with us here on this channel. We have some other very interesting videos that will enhance your research skill, and I want to encourage you to take time to scan through them. Most of these videos I share here. If you check the description, you will see related video. Once you click the link, it will take you to what exactly will enhance your research skill depending on the particular video you have watched. And I want to appreciate those who have spent time on this page. Sometimes our interest on this channel has to do with career, it has to do with research, it has to do with relationship, it has to do with entrepreneurship. So as a subscriber, anytime I share video that does not catch your interest, please don't be angry, just ignore it. But once you see anyone that catches your interest, you can be sure that my goal is to make sure I add value to every moment you spend on this channel. All right, and that is why I will appreciate you again and again. If you have not subscribed, one of the best ways you can encourage me in this is to make sure you subscribe to this channel. And not just subscribing, you can add your kind words. If you appreciate the effort, you can add your kind words. That's a lot of inspiration. A lot of content creators are just there to, by the time you finish watching the content, you just be wondering why you've wasted your time. I believe so much in value addition. All right, if you have challenge and you want to write me, I will be glad to hear from you. In case there are areas of interest you want me to treat in the course of our discussion, I will also do that. Otherwise, just add your kind words and that will be a lot of inspiration. All right, it's coming up and it will soon be done, and that is where we're going to stop this presentation. Again and again, I want to say thank you for your time. So when next you have your work ready, don't do this when you are still preparing your work at the early stage. No, try to be original as much as possible. Prepare your thesis, prepare your research. If you're afraid of writing research, I have a discussion which, if you check on the link here, you will see it. How to start up a new project if you are assigned to a supervisor. How do you go ahead? How do you find your way around selecting topics of interest that may also be interested to your supervisor? Okay, and then for those of you who are in social science and economics, I've treated how to start up a research work in terms of chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Chapter 4 depends on the method you specified in chapter 3, and that is why I didn't treat that so much. This is almost done. 88% completed, and then it's going to show us how much plagiarism we achieved. Remember what we got before we got plagiarism about 30-something%. Now it's telling us that the work is so unique, 97% unique, only 3% plagiarism, and so this work will fly anywhere. And that is why I want to say, if I also want to make it 100%, I will check the point highlighted. Okay, all different systems use different methods. Okay, I can use another software and it will find up to 5% on this work. Maybe this software didn't capture everything, but this will drastically reduce it. If I modify this further, it may give me 100% uniqueness, which I've achieved in some papers I've sent out for publication. On that note, thank you very much for your time, and I wish you the very, very best in your next research activity. God bless you. Cheers.